Lesson 17, Curve Sketching 2, Minima or Minimum Turning Point. Now here we have the parabola of y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 1. As before, I'm going to differentiate this. So I'll get y dash. Let's change it bigger. Okay, equals. This becomes 4x plus 8. Let y dash equal 0. So I'm going to let y dash equal 0 to locate this point here. So I get 4x plus 8 equals 0, which makes x equal to negative 2. And y equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 plus 1. This will become 8 minus 16 plus 1, which gives me negative 7. So this is the point, minus 2 minus 7. So in the other points, this point here is going to be 1, because x equals 0, y equals 1, 0, 1. And because this is 2 units this way, it's another 2 units at the other point, by symmetry, so that's minus 4, 1. That's just as before. Now we're going to consider the gradients of tangents either side of this point. And we're going to get very, very close to that point. So I'm going to choose a very small value. I'm going to call this epsilon. So epsilon, it's got to be greater than 0, but epsilon is a very, very small number. Now, first of all, I'll work out, we know that dy dx is equal to 4x plus 8. Now we know when x is equal to minus 2, dy dx equals 0. So when x equals minus 2, dy dx is equal to 0. Now at x equals minus 2 minus epsilon, that's just a little bit this side of it, right? We're going to examine the gradient at this point, and we put in that dy dx is equal to 4 times minus 2 minus epsilon plus 8, and that becomes, the numbers go out and you simply get minus 4 epsilon. And because epsilon is positive, we're saying the gradient is negative, which we can see that. We can see it'll have a negative slope on this side. So it's negative. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So at x equals minus 2 plus epsilon, we get the dy dx is equal to 4 into minus 2 plus epsilon plus 8, and that gives me 4 epsilon, or a positive result. And we can see that is a positive gradient on this side. Now, so we know that it's negative on this side, it's 0 here at the vertex, and just on the right hand side it becomes positive. Now, formally we can drop a table and write this as that's my x, and this is going to be my negative 2 minus 2 plus epsilon minus 2 minus epsilon. This is y dy dx or y dash. In this case here we see that's minus 4 epsilon, that's 0, and that's 4 epsilon. So what's happening, the gradient or the curve is going down, so it's a negative gradient, right? It's 0, and that's positive on this side. Now we can see this is going to be, in this particular shape, this is a minimum value. It's a minimum value or minimum turning point. And the shape of the curve, we say, shape of that is concave up. Concave up. And I use a little mnemonic, concave up, like a cup. Right? That's your That's the minimum turning point. So it's a sign change going from negative, mostly moving in the positive direction, from negative, 0, positive, then you have a minimum turning point and the curve is concave up at the point -2, -7.